Hello. If you're only interested in which analyzer I think is the best one and which one I use for more than 10 years, it's Span by Voxengo. The answer is on the screen. You can go ahead and download it from the link and you can just leave this video. But if you want to know why, stick with me. When compared to other analyzers, most of them usually show you the peak value for each part of the spectrum. Now, they do have some ballistics involved. So that means that the way they react is kind of usually delayed. So it takes them certain number of milliseconds or time to reach the maximum, so they never maybe reach the maximum peak of whatever was produced. They also have some decay time, meaning that when they reach that maximum they're showing you, the way they drop off in value is slower. That was meant to give you kind of a ballistics, try to somehow keep that analyzer from being too fast to actually be useful at all. Now, why I choose Span? Because even 10 years ago, it was one of the analyzers that was, first of all, free, and second of all, I could show with Span an average value for the signal in all the parts of the spectrum. And that was really important to me. You're actually looking at the energy of the song in all parts of the spectrum. That means that by looking at this analyzer, showing me that average value for each part, I can judge if the balance of the song is good or not just by glancing. Now, how do you know what it's supposed to look like? Well, the default setting for the slope of this analyzer is 4.5 decibels per octave. So why is that important? Even back in the days, this was one of the analyzers that had a variable slope. So if I get inside here, press this cogwheel, you can see that the slope right here can be adjusted. And I can adjust the slope of this analyzer, meaning you see the balance in between the lows and the highs. It's kind of like a tilt filter for the incoming signal, the way it's represented. So at 0, if this was at 0, let me just do that like this. If we played white noise through this analyzer right now, it would be shown as flat, horizontal. Okay, because white noise has the same amount of energy in all parts of the spectrum. We set this to 4.5 because all of the modern music, usually at this slope of 4.5, turns out to be kind of horizontal. Now, there's always things sticking out, and you can see in this EDM track that's playing in the background, there's a little bit more bass and highs than the mid frequencies, and that changes over genres. And how you're going to know that? Well, just play some music similar to what you're producing, play it in the project, see that through Span. Quite quickly, you will get a hang of what it's supposed to look like. And by looking at Span, that's showing you an average time of 6 seconds. And you can turn this on, of course, you can change this average time. It's showing you the average value for each part of the spectrum, meaning that I'm not seeing the current version that's affected by transients. I'm seeing the average version, which is showing me the energy of the spectrum in all parts. That means that by just glancing at it, I can see if the balance of the frequencies is right. Now, this doesn't mean at all that I will allow an analyzer to just judge for me, because you could just let AI then do it for you. That's not how it works. But if I know what all the elements are that are playing in this song, and I compare it to another song that has all of those elements at the same time, let's say all the hi-hats that you would find in an EDM production, and all the bass and all the synths and everything, it should be somewhere in the ballpark. So if you know what it's supposed to look like, you play all the elements and you see that something's missing, well, there's your first clue. You might have gotten used to listening to something with a bad balance, but you're just expecting it to sound that way because you're used to it. Now, also a really good way to compare something is to compare that to a reference track. So put some reference tracks in your project and compare them to what you're producing or mixing, mastering, whatever you're doing. But the analyzer can also help you visually. Now, definitely the visual can also affect you. I suggest that you always try to compare with your eyes closed if possible, because then you concentrate more on what you're listening to. So I really love analyzers, but it's not like they are the only decision. They're just there to help you make sure that nothing's really off by a lot. And any other details, well, you can't see that here. Like, you can't judge the details on an analyzer because every song is different. So you have to do that by listening, by practicing with experience. But if you want a really, really cool analyzer that's completely free, like this one, just go ahead and download it. You can also see the loudness value for it. And what I like to do to set it up is I have the A preset because I have an A and B. I have the A preset showing me the mid and side, so showing me the energy of everything that's mono and everything that's stereo separately, as you can see in two graphs. And then I can switch to B and just see the stereo energy across the whole spectrum. I can see the loudness, I can see the correlation meter, which shows me how stereo the song is, actually showing me what is the phase difference in between the left and the right channel. And as I said, I can see the true peak. Honestly, what more could you ask for a free analyzer? So if you like it, go ahead and download it. The link is going to be in the description. I have no affiliation with Span. I'm just using it for over 10 years. I'm a huge fan, and I'm using this free version all the time. If you want to learn more about analyzers or music production, check out my free course at mixingacademy.com. Thanks to 11.org. It's completely free, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.